Hello viewer, thank you so much for watching Elimu TV and welcome for Business Studies Form 3. Continue watching and learn more. You can also talk to us through the SMS. Our SMS line is 4007. You can also comment to us through the Facebook page. Our Facebook page is Elimu TV, or through Twitter, which is Elimu TV. Our Twitter handle is Elimu TV_KE. Today we are going to look at the factors, today we are going to look at demand and supply and the factors affecting demand and supply. I am Margaret Wangari. By the end of the lesson, the learner should be able to define the term demand, state and explain factors affecting demand, and you should also be able to differentiate between derived demand and joint demand. Our lesson preview is that we are going to define the term demand. We are also going to look at those factors affecting demand and the difference between joint and derived demand. So demand is that anytime you feel like you want something, let's say for instance you feel like buying a new pair of shoes, that feeling is what we may call as demand. Now, the definition of the word demand is that a commodity, the demand for a commodity, definition of demand is that demand for a commodity is the willingness and the ability to buy a commodity at a given price at a particular time. So for that willingness to be able to buy that commodity that you want, you must be willing. So if you are not willing, we may not refer to that as demand, and you should also be in a position to afford or to get the amount that that product is sold at. So for it to be referred to as demand, you must be willing, you must be able, and you must be able to get the amount at which the product is being sold at. Now, when we look at demand, there are so many factors that are likely to affect demand, and the factors that affect demand could either increase your demand, or those factors could also decrease your demand. And therefore, we are going to look at all those factors that affect demand. And one of the factors affecting demand of a commodity is the price of the commodity. You'll find that you as an individual, at the time that you are likely to buy more goods is when the price that is being offered is affordable to you. So you'll find that if the price of a commodity is high, customers find the commodity expensive, and therefore they buy less of that commodity. And this one, we say it reduces the demand for that commodity. On the other hand, if the price of the commodity is low, many people will want to buy that commodity because it is cheaper. And therefore, if the price of a product is low, what happens is that the demand for that product increases. So we can say the relationship between demand and price is that the higher the price, the lower the demand. On the other hand, the lower the price, the higher the demand. The other factor affecting demand is the consumer's level of income. Consumer's level of income. Consumer is the customer, the final customer, the person that uses the product. So you find that the levels of income varies. There are those people who earn more, and there are also those who earn less than the others. And what happens is that those people who are high income earners demand more goods simply because they have the money, they have the finances to purchase the product. So consumers with high income will buy more goods and services, while those with low income will buy less. We continue with the factors affecting demand, and the other factor affecting demand is the size of the population. The population could either be dense or sparse. And when we talk about dense population, this is whereby in a dense population is where we have so many people living in a given area. And since many people are around, we find that all of them or a good number or majority of them will demand a given product. And therefore, if the population is high, or if an area is densely populated, we'll find that the demand in that particular region is high. For instance, in towns, you find that demand for goods is usually higher because many people are located or live around towns. If an area is sparsely populated, find that the demand for that area is low because there are not many people who are there to demand for the goods. So the higher the population, the higher the demand. The lower the population, the lower the demand. The other factor affecting demand is the tastes and the preference. I'll find that if maybe one is making commodities for consumption, for instance, food, beverages, even clothes, a designer. If one is making products that are likely to be referred in terms of taste and preference by the consumers, consumers will buy more. And therefore, if the taste and the preference favors or is appreciated by the consumers, people demand more. But on the other hand, if the taste and the preference of the product does not make the consumers happy, what happens is that people demand less of that product or don't demand it at all, and therefore the demand goes down. So the better the taste and the preference of a commodity, the higher the demand, and vice versa. The other factor affecting demand is the changes in weather conditions, and this is whereby find that some products or some commodities are demanded more. They are demanded more depending on the seasons. For instance, you find that things are like umbrellas, commodities like umbrellas are demanding more during a rainy season, but during a sunny season, no one demands one. On the other hand, you could also have other commodities like woolen clothes. Find that they are also demanded more when there is during a cold season. So changes in weather conditions also influences the level of demand. The other factor affecting demand is the advertising. Advertising is whereby you inform. Through the various methods that we have using the media, you inform the people or the consumers about the existence of your product, and at the same time, you try to persuade them to buy your product by trying to make them understand its usefulness, how important it is, and the advantages associated with your product. So find that the products that are advertised are demanded more as compared to those that are not advertised. So we can say that advertising a product increases the demand of the product. Now we are still on factors affecting demand, and the other one is the price of related commodities. Price of related commodities. So we talk of commodities that are related, and commodities can be related in two ways. They can be related as substitutes, and they can also be related as complementary. Now, when you talk about price of related products, we first of all look at substitute goods, and substitute goods are goods that can be used in place of another. A good example of a substitute goods is like the toothpaste that we all know. Let's look at something like Close-Up and Aquafresh. Find that maybe if you use Close-Up and you happen to, the Close-Up happens to increase the price, you can go for an Aquafresh. So if the good that you use increases the price, you can go for another one that serves the same purpose that is much cheaper and affordable to you. Complementary goods are goods that are used together. That is, you cannot use one of them. You cannot satisfy yourself if you only use one. So it's not possible to use one. And a good example of complementary goods is that a car and fuel. You cannot use a car without fuel. Neither can you use fuel without a car. So we'll find that when it comes now affecting the price of a related commodities affecting demand, we'll find that, for instance, if they are substitute goods, if one substitute good increases the price, its product goes down, and the one that does not increase the price, its demand increases. Because we said at the beginning of the lesson that the higher the price of a product, the lower the demand, and the lower the price of a product, the higher the demand. So let's continue with the factors affecting demand, and the other one is the anticipated changes in prices. And if one expects the price of products to increase, if one expects the price of a product to increase in future, one buys more for now, and therefore at the end of the day, the demand of those products increases because their prices are expected to increase more tomorrow. On the other hand, if you don't expect, or if you expect the price of a product to decrease tomorrow, you buy less. Therefore, the demand of those products goes down. Now, we've looked at the factors that affect demand, and we have seen that all factors affecting demand can either increase or decrease the demand of a product. And let's now look at the relationship between derived demand and joint demand. And derived demand is of a commodity. It arises from the demand of another commodity, which facilitates the production of the latter. For instance, a very good example of derived demand is the demand for eggs. When you demand to eat eggs, eggs come from hen, and therefore that one drives you to demand for hen so that you can get your actual demand. So you can say that demand for hen is derived from the demand for eggs. Another example is the demand for wool. The demand for wool, which is derived from the demand for woolen clothes. So you'll find that if you demand woolen clothes comes from wool. So you'll have to first demand for wool so that you can get the woolen clothes. Therefore, demand for wool is derived from the demand for woolen clothes. And the other one is the joint demand. It is the joint demand, and this one refers to the demand for another commodity which arises from the demand of another commodity which are used together. So this is whereby you have two products and you cannot use one at a go, at only. So you have to demand both. For instance, when you buy a car, you have to demand for petrol, because this car cannot serve you without using petrol. So we can say that there is joint demand between a car and petrol. Thank you so much for watching. I'm going to leave you with some assignment to exercise and practice on what we've looked at. And one of the questions that you're going to look at is you explain how the following factors are likely to lower the demand of a product. Explain how the following factors are likely to lower the demand of a product. And one of the factors is the price of the commodity. We explain how the price of the commodity is likely to lower the demand of a product. We also explain how advertising is likely to lower the demand of a product. And finally, consumers' income. Thank you so much. Continue watching and learning. Thank you.